Alright, listen up. So I was gonna give a whole intro and everything, but now I realized your attention span is low and so you might dip. So to avoid you dipping, I had to cut it out entirely. Though it would make this video feel a whole lot more sophisticated, don't you think? Yeah, so I think I'll just... Hey, my name is Ness, and today I'll be laying upon you a little hack that helps me draw anime characters from side view perfectly. About 80% of the time though. The other 20 is for when you can't take instructions properly or when the character is just plain ugly. And I know that intro was bad, but to get through with this, you need a circle. Split it in half with a line and split that line in half with another line and you erase half of the second line, and this will be the direction your character is facing. This could be left, right, up, down, whatever you want, we'll cover all. Right at the point where the second line meets the circle, draw a straight line going down from there. A little longer than the first one. It could be longer, could be much longer. It all depends on the character you have in mind. Just don't overdo it. Otherwise your character is gonna end up looking like, yeah, that's really bad. And this is why references are important when you're an art baby. Alright, now that you have the length determined, draw a line connecting it to the circle and one more to the first line. Now right below the point where the second line meets with the circle, but still on the third line, make a triangle by dragging out and all the way down so it meets with the third line. I hope this isn't all too fast for you. If you have trouble following, it's okay to pause and rewind. Matter of fact, you'd be doing me a favor. Anyways, look at these 2 points. Connect them with something that looks like a square. This would be where you place your ears, okay? Keep following. Now right at the same point where that triangle for the nose started, drag out the curve slightly. This part's usually hard and it will take a few tries to get right, but basically it could be more rigid or more well-rounded depending on the type and gender of the character you're drawing. With men having sharper and more rigid curves and women softer, more rounded, I mean obviously. Round that curve and connect all the way to the back of the head, stopping right here. This will indicate where the back of the neck will lie. Right before the second curve for the jaw, draw a line moving straight down and another behind to complete the neck. Now not too far down, mark a horizontal point indicating where the shoulder meets the neck. And if your character looks like a gorilla at this point, then you're doing just fine. With the aid of the horizontal line, create a rectangle, making sure it's leaning forward slightly and also spread it just a little. Completed? Okay. Whoa. I just felt so self-aware right now. It's like I'm sitting here talking to a computer screen and a mic and then there's no one here, but it's like I'm talking to a person. Now add this triangle to indicate the size and position of the character's boobs. Yes, this is a female character if you haven't noticed by now. Now add the circle to indicate the shoulder starting point, but pause real quick. Look, I'm trying to make this tutorial as quick as possible, so I noticed I'm missing a few details. By a few details, I mean I forgot to tell you to draw on different layers like I'm doing. But enough talk. On a different layer, that's one on top, draw around the triangle to form something that kind of looks like the breast, making sure it's well rounded at the pointy side of the triangle, otherwise it looks like she's wearing knight armor. And make sure to push the curve connecting the horizontal line to the round points inwards, you know, to really get that bound. Yeah, no, I just realized about to say something really perverted. So connect the line for the front of the neck with 2 curves, one going in and one coming out. This bulge is the shoulder blade. Connect the line behind with the curve going out and then back in the back line. Nothing too crazy at best. Now add a pause at the base of the... What the f... Now add a small curve at the base of the boobs for the lower rib cage. Pause. We're basically done, the guidelines are right, but then there are still a few things I would like to add before we finish. The lips, the nose. When drawing characters from this angle, it's very easy to mess up the lip and the nose and thus have your characters look very weird or just plain ugly. And even if your guidelines are correct, it's still worth noting that as for the top lip, it's always going to be a lot sharper and more pointed forward than the lower lip, which is more rounded and curves easily to form the jaw and eventually the chin. The jaw is usually pressed inward just a little bit, but this only applies to slimmer characters and can vary greatly. As for the nose, this too can vary, but I like to draw my characters with a more pointed nose, making sure that the line that rejoins with the lip goes outward for the most part and curves just a little bit inward right before rejoining. And I like to keep the top straight or just leaning forward a little bit. Lastly, when drawing the forehead, I find it more appealing to go right behind the circle line and then moving up slightly in between the first and the second line before going in and flowing in with the second line as perfectly as I can. This may all sound easy enough, but personally, getting this part right took me over 9 minutes of straight trial and error. See? But if you're lucky, you could get this in just a few tries and have something looking like this. At this point, we're kinda done, and all that really remains to teach you is to, art the ears, slap some eyelashes on the triangle you drew earlier. I tilted the head of my character I'm working with because I want it facing down, but don't worry, you don't have to do this. Just connect the jaw to the neck and you're fine. Once you've placed the eyelashes on the character, close it up with a soft curve and then you should have something looking like this. If you don't, then I don't think you followed my instructions clearly. Maybe you should rewatch the video, I think. Hold up. This shit's kinda ugly. Let's make the eye smaller and add the eyebrows somewhere around here with a line for the eye socket. Some details in the ear and then this tiny line showing the mouth. The eyebrows a little off, don't you think? Oh yeah, that's better now. Yeah, as for these tiny adjustments, I'm really sorry if you're a traditional artist, because doing things like this is gonna be a pain in the ass. I mean, all you have to do is erase, honestly, because I was a traditional artist. I only just switched to digital recently and I still draw on paper. It's not as free as digital, but now at this point we're basically done. Yes, I know I've said this 1,000 times, but I promise this time we're actually done. There's really nothing left to teach you. I mean, all that remains is to add the hair and coloring. I would love to teach you that, but this isn't exactly the type of hair you should use as a reference when learning how to draw hair. I mean, sure, it looks good, but as an art baby you'll be confusing yourself. So now I send you forth, go practice with various types of anime faces, as there's construction reference guidelines thing. I don't know what to call this. You should be able to fit any type of face you could possibly imagine. You know, practice with boys and girls, experiment with boys and girls. Jesus Christ, that sounds really wrong. But eventually you'll learn to master it, as this is literally the easiest method of drawing side view faces for anime characters out there. I don't think there's anything easier than this. If I do find, I'll tell you. Maybe in time you'll be able to draw pieces like this. Just remember, this isn't talent. This is practice.